Good morning. I am Steve Weber. Welcome to the American Gumption Morning Show on Tuesday, June 22nd. And today is show number 192. So we're sneaking up on 200 shows already. Can you believe that? Less than a year and 200 shows. So feeling good about all of that. All righty. So here we go. So today we're going to do something. We're going to talk about something I've never talked about on the show before, and that is EFT or tapping. And Denise Flood will be joining us at about 15 past the hour, and she is a bit of an expert on this. And so we're going to learn all about it. I'm going to learn about it. You guys will learn about it, and so that's the story there. So that's coming up at about 15 past the hour. Now, my monologue is I'm going to talk about how the body stores energy and how I kind of came about discovering that. And I've told the story a couple times in a couple different ways, but I'm going to do it a little differently today. And just the idea of body storing energy and how EFT could be a good solution for, cleaning some of that out. So, alrighty. So that's coming up. And then Brandon Schaefer will join us in just a minute or two for his simple motivation. At least that's the plan. I haven't seen Brandon yet, but we're thinking he's going to come and join us. All righty. Let me tell you about what's going to happen the rest of the week. And I got one day for sure I can announce for next week. So tomorrow I am going to be with Heather Holmes, and I'm going to be doing another live remote, this time from Newtown, Pennsylvania. So Heather and I will be broadcasting tomorrow, and we're going to talk about heart-centered businesses. Heart-centered businesses will be our topic. And of course, we're going to talk about the P-squared products that we've talked about in the past with her. So that'll be tomorrow. And then on Friday, Gwen Peterson joins us, and we're going to talk about meditation. Gwen is the founder of Spiritual Communities Network. And, we've had her interviewed here twice already, but this time we're going to do specifically about a meditation practice. So if you're a beginner in the meditation, you'll want to join us. And if you have a more advanced meditation practice, you'll also want to join us. So we'll kind of cover the whole spectrum, the basics. And then, as you get as it progresses a little bit. All righty. So that's what's happening there. We have Madeline and Christine already checking in and joining us. So thank you, ladies, for being part of the show this morning. We appreciate your listening in to us. All right. So today is Tuesday, and we usually have a certain guest on Tuesday. Let's go ahead and play a song and then bring them on board. Hello, Brandon. Good morning. How are you doing today?
Hello, Steve. Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing good. What's going on in your world this morning? What are you thinking about sharing with us? You always bring us some
Steve,
simple motivation. What? Sometimes it's complicated, but mostly it's simple.
Today is dead simple. It's two things. The first one is be patient. Did you hear me? Be patient. Not everything's going to happen on your terms or your time frame, right? So be patient. The other one is focus on the activities that are going to make a difference, right? Focus on the activities that are going to make an impact for you today. Now, I know we all have to focus on the long term, but we need these daily, short-term targets that we can knock down and keep putting our left foot in front of the right. I say the same thing every week. It's just in a different format, right? So be patient, and focus on the activities that are going to make a biggest difference in your life as well as other people's lives. That's what I have for you today, Steve.
I love that, and I think I write down my own little daily thing, and I said I think it was, I don't have it in front of me because it's in a different file, but it said small details impact the big picture, something like that. And that's
exactly, man. Exactly. It's like walking up the steps. You know, if you try to jump up 3-4 steps, typically you fall backwards. But if you do left foot on on the first step, right foot on second, left, right, rinse, repeat, keep going. Be patient, stay focused. Those are the 2 things for today, Steve.
all righty. Well, I'm going to be in your neighborhood tomorrow, so you'll feel my energy from Newtown, Pennsylvania. Heather Holmes and I are going to broadcast our show together tomorrow. So,
what place are you going from? Her warehouse, or where are you going from?
Her from her home.
Okay.
From her worldwide headquarters.
Nice.
Which I'm not even sure where that is yet in Newtown. I don't have an address, but we'll find it.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. Well, if you have some free time, make sure you text me and we'll catch up for a few.
That sounds great.
All right, Steve, I'll talk to you. Have a great day, man.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So there's Brandon Schaefer. His business is simplebusinesshelp.com. It's scrolling on the bottom. And what Brandon and his team do is they help you with your strategy and your technology. So whether it's marketing based or sales based or, social media based, some kind of a regular messaging, that's really what he does. But more importantly, they have a team of technical people that will help you connect different pieces of technology and automation to help your business. Simplebusinesshelp.com. And we thank Brandon for joining us usually almost every Tuesday morning with some kind of a simple little motivation. All righty. So now let's go ahead and shift gears, get into my monologue, because we want to bring Denise up in just a couple more minutes. So the monologue today is called Our Body Stores Energy, or Our Body Stores Energy. And the way that what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tell a little story of how I ended up like discovering this and really kind of like getting it like where I kind of understood it. It's like one thing for someone to say, oh, your body stores energy. And you go, oh, okay, great. That's wonderful. But in terms of really understanding it. So that's what today's message is all going to be about. So in 2018, I began the process of getting rid of massive amounts of stuff. And it started with commitments that I had. And there was 2 service organizations, that one professional, one more social, or one community, that I had been involved with for one for just shy of 10 years and the other one for more than 10 years. And I realized that in order for me to move on with my life, didn't know it at that moment in time, but I was going to leave Montana, and I went, I got to shed these commitments, these big things that I have that I've been involved with, where people are, expecting me to do certain things on a regular basis. And it was like, not complaining about the 10 years that I spent with each group, but I basically said, hey, it's time to, it's time for me to have more options to go forward in my life. And so I had to, shed those or get rid of them. And then at the same time, I also started getting rid of big things. I had trucks and vehicles and stuff that I had hauled up to Montana. And I started to look at that stuff as kind of an albatross, meaning it was like an anchor, like holding me there. And I felt like I needed to have more flexibility in terms of what I go and do professionally and personally in my life in the future. And so that 2018, I spent the year getting rid of a lot of big physical things, and then also these personal commitments that I had been involved with. And I did that basically on my own. Now, the next year, a friend and mentor and coach, Tamara Fleming, who's been on the show a couple of times, she started working with me as I was. At that point, I had already made the decision to leave Montana, and I was now getting rid of stuff in earnest. I was like, okay, it's all got to go. I gotta end up putting stuff into a trailer and driving away, or truck and trailer and driving away with whatever I'm taking with me, and everything else needs to go. So she helped me with the process of getting rid of stuff. Now, process had two two ideas. There was actually the physical process of physically grouping things and organizing things and kind of processing the, how do you get rid of stuff? And then but then there was an emotional process of letting go of the stuff that I had. And that, I didn't realize that when she started helping me, but that's what she ultimately helped me with the most. And one of the things that she would repeat over and over to me is drink lots of water, drink lots of water. And I initially thought, this sounds like, this is nutty. And this is only a couple of years ago. And she's like, drink lots of water. And I'm like, hey, I'm just like getting rid of stuff. Why do I have to drink lots of water? I mean, I'm not opposed to drinking lots of water, and I do drink lots of water, but I didn't understand that. But I respected her, and I loved her messaging and her friendship and her mentoring and coaching. And I just said, hey, yeah, okay. So I started drinking lots of water with it. I realized, and she also explained it further, is that the emotional process of letting something go is a way of releasing energy from the body. And if there's this stored energy in the body, then as this energy goes away, there's like the residual, I don't know what you call it, free radicals or leftover energy or whatever. And the water helps to cleanse and process that and get rid of it. So that all, that was like, drink lots of water. And I'm like, okay, I'll drink lots of water, but I think you're crazy. I didn't really think she was crazy, but I didn't understand it. She also said, take lots of breaks. Okay, that makes sense. Ground yourself. She said, like, take your shoes off and walk around outside with your feet in the grass. And I was like, oh, okay, I didn't quite necessarily get that. Breathe. Certainly got that. Had already started my own meditation practice, although I was still what I'll call more novice than where I am today with it. But she said, so those were the things: drink lots of water, take breaks, ground yourself, and breathe. All right. So now let's go back 1 year earlier. So when I was in the process of getting rid of that stuff, those long-term commitments and the big things, I kind of did that all on my own. And what I can look back at and see today is that it took me, like when I would like release something, I actually would kind of go through the process of releasing the energy from my body. I didn't realize that was going on at the time, but these were big things. And so I ended up like blogging about them. I ended up like taking like a couple of weeks for some of them and feeling like I had accomplished this great big thing. And I did accomplish a big thing, but I was, just sort of going through that process of getting rid of it, releasing the energy and doing it. And I would kind of revel in the idea that, hey, I did this, I got rid of it. And so it was like that, process. Now, fast forward back to that, like 2019, when Tamara's helping me. I mean, now I'm in like the last, like, say 4 or 5 months of like, I got to get out of here and I got to get rid of everything else. And even though I had gotten rid of like a couple of really big things, the year before, I had a ton of like little stuff that all needed to go. And so I needed a more efficient process of going through that, letting go or grieving. And I remember we talked about that term grieving. You think about like when do you grieve? When normally at the loss of, at the death of someone that you care about, you go through this whole grieving process. Well, it was explained to me and I understood that grieving could be as simple as, just letting go of, the stuff that you had. And really what happened was the stuff that I let go of represented dreams and ambitions that, ultimately you decided, well, that's no longer part of my future. I don't want to, carry this stuff around with me. I no longer have the desire to, use the things that I had accumulated in a certain way. But, for whatever reason, you want to hold on to them. You don't want to let go of them. So I go through this whole massive process of letting go. And there was a certain amount of grieving that went along with it. So now let's see. Oh my gosh, let's see. I'm looking at my pages. I don't have page 2. I have page 1. written twice. So now I got to do my monologue by the last part of my monologue by memory. So anyway, I decide that I'm going to go ahead and get rid of everything. And how do you go ahead and do all of this? How do you, how do you like process really quick? So anyway, the drinking the water, the letting go, and okay, now I remember where I was going with this thing. So I get rid of all that stuff and I leave, and I'm back in Pennsylvania, and I end up reading, and this happened right away, like within the first few months of there, The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton. There it is. Biology of Belief. And this book was really like a kind of a godsend, because what it did is explained on the quantum level, on the cellular level of my body, how the body ends up storing energy. And it explained it more from a science point of view, and how, energy gets released, or how energy gets contained, and how that contained energy can become disease, dis-ease. And so, this book was really kind of, helped me like look back at that 1.5 year process that I went through and go, oh, this is why I had to process the getting rid of things and letting go, grieving, and making it disappear from my body, because there's only that mind-body connection. And we become, the subconscious mind is the body essentially remembering, some kind of a technique or some kind of a feeling that just keeps playing over and over again. And without consciously making a decision to let some of those things go, they end up storing in our body. So anyway, that's really all I wanted to share with you this morning. And I think that as I bring Denise on, it'll be appropriate, because she's going to talk about the tapping and how, that makes a difference, is a way of, it's a way of doing all kinds of nifty things for healing and energizing your body. So with that, I think I see Denise is there. Looks like she's ready to go. Let's go ahead and bring Denise on. Hi, Denise. Welcome.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, Steve. I am very excited to be here. I love all the things you've talked about, because energy and our bodies, they are integral. They intersect on so many levels. So I'm excited to talk about this and how it relates to tapping.
All righty. Well, very good. So Denise, this is your first time on the American Gumption Morning Show. So I did not explain this because I always like to surprise you. There's 2 things that happen whenever I bring a brand new guest on, and hopefully you'll be agreeable. But number 1 is I get to read a bio about who you are, and so people will know who you are. And then number 2 is I get to play a song, and the song is called the First Time Guest Welcoming Theme Song. And if we invite you back again, you'll never hear this song again, because it's only for first time guests. So are you down with all of this?
I'm down with that, and I can't wait to hear the second song.
All righty. Well, very good. Well, here, what I'll do is I'll put you in the big, we'll let people see who you are as I read your bio, and then we'll play the song. So Denise Flood has over 30 years of experience learning and teaching energy work. She is a lifelong learner. That is one of the pillars of American Gumption, is lifelong learning. So we love lifelong learners here. Denise is the creator of the self-care program, Change Your Frequency, Change Your Life. And that incorporates techniques like EFT or tapping, meditation, prayer work, essential oils, sound and breath work, Reiki, and more. Man, you've got a toolbox full of techniques and gadgets that can help people. Her objective is to bring clients greater vitality and joy of living. Greater vitality and joy of living. Denise believes that EFT or tapping can change the world. It's been a catalyst for profound change in her own life. Tapping covers a range of issues, including goal setting, ending self-sabotage, overcoming obstacles, freedom from fears, weight loss, and stress relief. Tapping immediately calms the nervous system, allowing our natural talents and genius to flow. Denise is also a spiritual recording artist who has appeared on several compilation meditation CDs, and she has a new solo CD release called The Keys, Volume 2, Meditations and Messages for Life's Most Challenging Times. And that's available on Amazon. So, Denise Flood, welcome to the American Gumption Morning Show. I'm delighted that you're here. Are you ready for the song?
I am ready.
Let's do it. Have you ever had a marching band welcome you to a broadcast before, Denise?
I didn't, and I'm absolutely thrilled.
All right. Well, we like to try to do something special for first-time guests, but that's it. We hope you'll come back again, but it'll be, you'll just be part of the family at that point.
Sounds excellent.
We're gonna go into tapping, and I've been aware of tapping, and a little bit like when Tamara told me to drink lots of water, and I know you're a proponent of drinking lots of water. Yes, we both have our water ready to go here. I didn't get it at the beginning, and so tapping isn't something that I've personally used, although I've been aware of it for a few years. So I'm excited because I'm expecting that I'll have new knowledge and I'll be much more aware of how it's going to help me. So now, before we jump into that, which is really going to be the main topic here, what happened multiple decades ago when you were just a little girl and you discovered that you had your own awakening and you got into this frequency and this energy work, and how did that come about? Tell a little bit about the backstory of what brought you into this whole realm.
What brought me into the whole realm was a major unfortunate tragedy of my father getting cancer. And that was really our journey together, finding ways that the major medical field couldn't help him with some things, and also the mind-body connection to even process what is going on when your body betrays you like that. And that was really the first time I heard about our thoughts impact our body, our emotions impact our body. My father worked for a company that created munitions for the Vietnam War, and every man in his department passed away from some form of cancer within 10 years of each other. He was the head of engineering, and Agent Orange, I'm sure many of your guests might be familiar with. It impacted each man differently, though. So where his weakness happened to be his stomach. He had that weakness there. Other people got cancer in different areas. And I think a lot of people have that talk about digestion and things like that. It's more than just a physical act. It's an emotional, a spiritual act of digesting what happens in life and how we process that. And then going on, it was person after person, and I added a new technique to what I learned while trying not to beat myself up for not knowing it before. And so that's what really got me into the self-care. Everything I teach now is not like I became a Reiki master. I have all these certifications, but in things that I do for other people, what became apparent to me, how important it is that we have the tools and techniques to do these things for ourselves. We may need experts at times, but to have the resources to do really effective self-care. And I think that tapping falls into that on both realms. One with a professional for things you can't move through easily, and one for yourself for things that you're in a situation and you need help immediately.
I want to bring the biology of belief up one more time, just because it helped me understand, and I'm going to relate it to your father and the team of people that he worked with, and the chemical that all of these men were exposed to. And you said, like, in your father's case, it was a weakness in his. Where was the weakness? Where was the chain? Where was the weak link? And so it affected him there. What I've come to understand from reading this book and other things, learning, is that you could take the same chemical, which is toxic and is bad, and it could affect every person a little bit differently, because it essentially attacks the weakest part of it. And so even though the symptoms somebody else had, all these men, you said, died within about a 10-year range of each other of some form of cancer. It wasn't like always like a stomach cancer or a lung cancer, and so it ultimately, there is such a strong mind-body connection. And I'm coming to realize this. And so you discovered it, unfortunately with your, but fortunately, because, it brought you to where you are today.
Yes, it absolutely did. And I am definitely passionate about this, because when I turned 55, I was the oldest living member of my family. Mm-hmm. And I did not want my daughter to have that story to tell when she turns 55. I want to do, because we can. It is proven we can. There's epigenetics. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Yep. But there are many ways that we can mediate, if not remediate, the damage that has been done, whether it is body, mind, or spirit. There is eternal hope.
Yeah. So you get into this, and when did the tapping part come to be? Because you said you mentioned the different modalities, Reiki. You learned all of these things, and now you kind of have them all as kind of a toolbox and working with people. And you said that the tapping is really the one that is kind of your go-to, and my words, not yours, but like kind of the one that you find most useful for most people. How did that part begin? When were you introduced to it? And then kind of give an overview of what tapping is for people who don't have any idea.
Well, I originally was introduced to tapping when I was a teacher. I worked for a private school in Miami, and I was a reading specialist. And they sent me for training in EFT, emotional freedom technique, to help the children for fears, fear of test taking, fear of reading aloud in front of classmates, fear of, failing, fear of interacting on the playground and not being chosen for, the star pitcher. It can be so many different things. And then it was quite complicated. There was lots of, and there still is, there is techniques that involve tapping on certain finger points, certain acupressure points around the body. But what they found as the years have gone on, there's been a lot of science and research behind EFT, and they've been able to do clinical studies that have proven that there's 9 major points on the body that affect all of the organs, all of the circuits, all of the energy that flows in us and helps to bring us to a place where we can find that space where our mind works. We're not in that fight or flight, where we can find that release point so that we can release pain even. It's just such a useful tool.
It is tapping, the original concept of tapping, is this one of those ancient medicines that sort of became EFT in the recent scientific years, or is it kind of a brand new thing what's the historical connection to it all from an ancient medicine point of view?
Absolutely. I think here in the West, we are a little behind the times because it's ancient Chinese medicine or Japanese, the whole Eastern medicine of mind-body connection and the energy that runs through the body. And so there's been countless, it's actually, I call it needleless acupuncture. Because it hits the energy meridians in the body, which actually connect to organs. They flow through those organs and help those organs find balance, because we also store emotions in organs, where you've traditionally heard the liver for anger, the kidneys. If we're not filtering out what's given to us, whether it is a physical or emotional or spiritual thought, I mean, it's all so connected. And yes, it does come from that ancient Chinese or ancient Eastern medicine of acupuncture.
I was thinking my monologue, I didn't quite explain it properly. The body, I said the body stores energy, and that on the surface is true, but what we're concerned about is more energy blockages that occur. So and so that's when the storing of the energy happens, where there's a blockage and it accumulates in one particular area. And how do we release that and get rid of that? And how do we become more aware of our bodies so that we're tuned in and listening to what our body is trying to tell us? And we didn't learn this as kids, and but suddenly I'm like, oh my gosh, if we actually pay attention to the body, we can hear what it's trying to tell us.
Absolutely. I can tell you, not only in my own personal experience, but working with clients, if they say, oh, I have this pain in my shoulder, and I will ask them to check in, give it a level. We call it calibrating. A level, is it 1 where it's there, but I don't notice it, to 10 where I can't even turn my neck. I'm in such pain. And then we do a little round of tapping, and then I'll ask them to check it again, but I'll also say, when we were tapping, did you have a thought or a feeling? Does it have a color? I mean, because we all look and see things in different ways. And so some people might have a memory of something that happened, and it could be something that they think, I didn't even think that bothered me, where somebody might have pushed them out of the way while they were waiting for their spot to get ice cream. But it impacted them in some way that every time they have a little injury there, it takes them back to that feeling of being pushed out of the way or something. And so it's really interesting when you were talking about clearing your energy, how sometimes it can be the simplest thing that we as adults think, but if it had happened to us as a child, it was momentous. And it changed the way that we hold patterns in our body. And so that is another reason why tapping is so effective.
It's almost like we want to go back to, we want to learn what was the body's original state before it got on a subconscious level, like these blockage points or these places where, we have these emotional triggers that cause it. And so, in retraining, I've done a lot of work with retraining the subconscious mind, but now I'm seeing it's really retraining the subconscious mind so it can retrain the body. And that's what I think the connection, mind-body connection.
Absolutely. Mind, body, and spirit, because spirit is the overlighting energy that we want to have radiate out of us. And so that's why we do all this clearing, so that we can be that, and I'll go out on a limb here, create that heaven on earth that I think that we're all here and intended to. That is our ultimate work, is that so we need to clear all of those levels.
So how, so let's go ahead and get into the technique of it. And I don't know which direction you want to go with it in terms of, Do we want to try to do it like like imagining a person, or do you just want to give an overview of how the technique works itself? I'll let you be the guide here.
Okay. Well, I will ask you, if you're willing, is there something that you would like to clear today? Or I can choose something like general stress relief.
Yeah, no. So I probably 6 months ago, I noticed a pain like through, I'll call it through the neck, but it's really kind of on this right side and into the upper shoulder area. And what it's done is it's like, it feels like it's limiting my mobility in terms of able to, go back and forth and look. And if I'm out driving and I have to try to turn real quick, I mean, it's like not very comfortable. This is a relatively new pain that I did not experience before.
Okay. So I'm going to just say, I always like to number one, take a sip of water. I really loved your speaking about the importance of water, because water not only helps with everything you said, but we're electrical beings. Mm. We are energetic beings, and energy passes beautifully when through the medium of water. And so, cheers.
Cheers.
Okay. And then I'm going to show you the tapping points where we'll start. And this is called the karate chop point. And I'll talk people through it yourself as well as we go along, so you don't really need to remember. And so you can use 2 fingers or 3 fingers. And the object is to just tap gently there. And remember that our bodies are incredibly delicate. I always tell people, we're not trying to knock sense into ourselves. We don't want to be rough. Our bodies are these beautiful, delicate instruments that will respond when we give it what it needs. And so I'll take my glasses off so you can see the points that I'm going to use. So right here where the eyebrow points meet, you can use 2 hands. And again, very gently, or 1. Everyone, I always say, do it what works for you. Some people recommend both sides. Side of the eye, right where the bone is, again, very gently. Under the eye, you'll feel the little notch on the eye bone, just very gently. Under the nose. In the chin crease, so under the mouth. Now, top of the collarbone, about 1 inch down, you might feel, if you rub there, it might feel a little sore. You can do it like this. I often suggest doing it like this because you're hitting both points, but you're also covering the thymus. And when you do that and you gently stimulate the thymus, you are stimulating your immune system to respond and boost it. And so when we're under stress or in pain, a lot of times our immune system drops. So this is a wonderful way of just gently reminding your immune system that you need the help. And then underneath the arms, right where on a woman the bra line would be, so right across from your pectoral muscles. And you can do it like this. Some people do it like this. It's however you're most comfortable with. And then top of the head. And that's like right in the center. Some people like to move around. And that is considered 1 round of tapping. And I will move along and talk about it. But then after I do that, I take a sip of water, because we've activated those points. So they're aware that we are ready to do some work. And so I'm going to ask you on a scale of 1 to 10, just to tune into that energy there and tell me if what number you would give it.
I would give it probably a 7.
A 7. Okay. So everybody who's watching, if you have something that might be a pain or something else, I always suggest people to, if my words do not match what is going on for you, this is your personal experience. So change the words so that they resonate with you. I might talk about God in a way that doesn't agree with your beliefs. Just switch it. This is for you. So here we go. Side of the hand. Even though I have this pain in my neck and shoulder, and you'll repeat that.
Even though I have this pain in my neck and shoulder,
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I deeply and lovingly accept myself.
Perfect. A lot of people do not even like to say the words, I love and accept myself. And so, again, you change it to fit you. When I first started tapping, that was totally not where I wanted to go. And so I would say things like, even though I have this pain in my neck and my shoulder. Go ahead.
Even though I have this pain in my neck and shoulder,
I believe I can take a look at it.
I believe I can take a look at it.
And see if it might ease.
And see if it might ease.
So again, there's many ways to do tapping. I really say there's no wrong way, because our bodies and our spirits instinctively know what our intentions are. And there is nothing more powerful than our intention to heal. So even though I have this pain in my neck and it is keeping me from feeling unencumbered.
Even though I have this pain in my neck and shoulder, it is keeping me feeling encumbered.
I believe I have the capability of giving myself relief.
I believe I have the capability of giving myself relief.
Even though I have this pain in my neck and shoulder, and it keeps me from turning my head completely.
Even though I have this pain in my neck and shoulder, and it prevents me from turning my head completely.
I am willing to take a look at it now.
I am willing to take a look at it now.
And so we're going to do a round of tapping, and we're going to say all the negative things. And the reason that we're doing this is because you clear out the dirt. You would sweep your floor before you wax it. This is the idea behind that. So here we go.
Okay.
Top of the eyes. All this pain.
All this pain.
Side of the eye. This pain in my neck and shoulder.
This pain in my neck and shoulder.
Under the eyes. It hurts.
It hurts.
Under the nose. It keeps me from being at ease in my body.
It keeps me from being at ease in my body.
Under the mouth. This pain in my neck and shoulder.
This pain in my neck and shoulder.
Top of the chest. It bothers me.
It bothers me.
Under the arms. It frustrates me.
It frustrates me.
Top of the head. I should be able to release this.
I should be able to release this.
Okay. And then take a breath. Take a sip of water. And just check in and ask yourself, and whoever's watching as well, if you have a thought or something, I should have said, have a little piece of paper and pencil there that you can write it down so that you can come back to it later. But did you have any thoughts come up about when it happened? Was there a cause? What did you associate with the feeling, or was it just a feeling?
Well, here's like kind of the full answer. I was paying so close attention to, trying to do this on the broadcast that I wasn't necessarily allowing myself to check in with my body. I forgot to do that.
Okay, so check in now. That's okay, because we all have those moments where we forget to check in. So just ask yourself, all this pain in my neck and shoulder.
All this pain in my neck and shoulder. Yeah, it's not like like crippling me, but it's like a soft like presence that's there. And it's not, it doesn't seem to be getting worse, but it doesn't seem to be, like releasing and easing up. It's not like sort of like an injury that, came and went. It's like something that's chronic at this point.
Okay. So, and I will tell everyone, sometimes when you check back in, sometimes it actually escalates because you're bringing your attention to it. So if it had been at a 7, it could be an 8 or more. And other times you'll check in and you'll be like, whew, okay. And all of that is perfectly normal. These are just everyone processes differently. And I will ask you, we'll just tap like this for a moment, because this is my universal tapping place when I'm talking with clients or people when we're facilitating tapping, and you're just gently tapping here. When you turn your head and you can't see, what does that represent for you?
It represents like not having a clear vision, not being able to see the whole picture.
Okay. That is actually so beautiful what you just brought up, because I think a lot of us can relate to that, where we went and let's just tap on that for a minute and not so much focus on the body first, though we will get back to that. So, and we're just going to tap right here. Even though yes, thank you. Sorry. I paused and I'm like, wait a second. I paused. Even though I have this overwhelming feeling of not being able to see the whole picture.
Even though I have this overwhelming feeling of not being able to see the whole picture,
I know that I am where I am supposed to be right now.
I know I am where I'm supposed to be right now.
Even though my body is responding in a way that seems restrictive.
Even though my body seems to be responding in a way that seems restrictive.
I thank it for bringing this to my attention.
I thank it for bringing this to my attention.
This is so powerful.
This is so powerful.
My clarity of vision.
My clarity of vision
comes to mind.
My clarity of vision comes to mind.
And I allow myself.
And I allow myself.
To breathe that in.
To breathe that in.
And breathe out that which no longer serves me.
And breathe out that which no longer serves me.
So let's take a good breath in. And actually feel sending that breath to that area where your mind connects to your body. And then breathe out what no longer serves you. And as we're tapping, we're going to just continue to breathe in that oxygen, which is a universal gift of life. So we are giving ourselves that gift of life, and we are sending it to the structures in our body, which seem to be tight or resistant. And when we breathe out that which no longer serves us, just send that right down into the earth, because the Mother Earth needs compost. So when we get rid of our explicitive crap and we send it down into the earth can actually use that to build new life. So breathe in and out. Breathing in all that light and that oxygen, and allowing it to course through those muscles and in your vertebrae, actually feel it start to saturate that area as we tap in to our divine inheritance of wellness. Take another deep breath. Take a sip of water. And let me ask you how that felt.
Well, it actually, I ended up really remembering when the pain started, and I had taken in the middle of March, I ended up flying out to California and drove back across the country in a 3.5-week period. And in advance of that trip, I knew that trip was going to be a turning point in my life. And by the time I came back from it is when I really noticed that it was there. But simultaneous to all of that, I had decided that I needed to take a different direction in terms of not like a radical, oh, I can no longer do this, I have to do this, but I needed to make like a course correction in terms of where I was going with my life. So I very much felt like I was needing to make some new decisions that I didn't feel like I needed to make up until that point, but this trip turned out to be the perfect catalyst to do that. And since then, I've been creatively on fire in terms of updating certain visions that I had and clarifying certain things. So I've been doing that exact work in terms of seeing. I've talked about the big picture multiple times, but I was not connecting this blockage of energy with that thinking. So I really feel like I've gotten a lot of clarity on, well, where did this come from, just from this little exercise we did. The other thing that happened while we were doing it is on the other side of my neck. Okay, so the pain is over through here. I started feeling a bunch of tingling on this other side.
Ah, excellent. You know, when you said that, I got this word. I have my fingers crossed so I would remember it. It's like you gave yourself spiritual whiplash.
I did.
And the terminology you used, new direction, turning your life, that is all so connected to how our body perceived it. So how your body perceived that and how you're processing it. Let's just side of the hand. Even though I gave myself a little bit of spiritual whiplash.
Even though I gave myself a little bit of spiritual whiplash.
I'm glad, because it brought me to this point where I am today.
I'm glad because it brought me to this point where I am today.
Even though I gave myself a little bit of spiritual whiplash.
Even though I gave myself a little bit of spiritual whiplash.
I thank my body for keeping me grounded and secure.
I thank my body for keeping me grounded and secure.
Even though I gave myself a little bit of spiritual whiplash.
Even though I gave myself a little bit of spiritual whiplash.
I thank my body for giving me the message to slow down.
I thank my body for giving me the message to slow down.
So that I can process in a healthy and healing way.
So I can process in a healthy and healing way.
Okay. Top of the eyes. This spiritual whiplash.
This spiritual whiplash.
Side of the eyes. Was really a gift.
Was really a gift.
Under the eyes. To connect me with my brain, body, spirit, life.
To connect me with my brain, body, spirit, life.
Under the nose, in a way I could really see, feel, and process.
In a way that I could really see, heal, and process.
Under the mouth, this spiritual whiplash.
This spiritual whiplash.
Top of the chest, I send it light and love.
I send it life and love.
Under the arms, this spiritual whiplash.
This spiritual whiplash.
Top of the head, has done its job and I release it.
Has done its job and I release it.
We're going to keep going. I feel the life and love coursing through my neck and shoulders.
I feel the life and love coursing through my neck and shoulders.
Side of the eye, as I release that resistance.
As I release that resistance.
Under the eyes, gently.
Gently.
Under the nose, I give myself the gift of gently healing.
I give myself the gift of gently healing.
Under the mouth, of tuning in to how the energy is processing in my body.
Of how the energy is processing in my body.
Top of the chest, and I allow my divine light and love.
And I allow my divine light and love.
To bathe this area of my body.
To bathe this area of my body.
Top of the head, and flow between my brain.
And flow between my brain.
And all the messages it sends me to my body.
And all the messages it sends me to my body, through my body.
Through my body. Okay, so let's take a breath and a sip of water. And see how you feel now.
I won't say that I have no discomfort in that area, but I certainly feel much better.
So from a 1 to a 10, you were at a 7 when we started.
I would say I'm, certainly down to a 5 or 4.
Perfect. So I would continue this, and I know we have a limited time left, and you could even just simply go like this and say, because I know you are familiar with beautiful energy work. I breathe in light and love.
I breathe in light and love.
And I breathe out all that no longer serves me.
And I breathe out all that no longer serves me.
That's one of the simplest things you can do.
I breathe in light and love, and I breathe out all that no longer serves me.
Right.
Beautiful.
Yay.
Yeah. Wow. That's I'm going to just say that's a very good demonstration of what tapping is all about. What else can we say about it?
We can say that it is a tool that works when you use it. But it can be done anytime. I would tell my kids, if you're up in front, nobody needs to know what you're doing. This is why I would suggest just learning this. If you know instinctively when things go wrong, what do? Oh my, we know instinctively that this is a point. This is the central meridian of the entire body. Or what else? When you hear something unbelievable, oh my gosh, guess what you're doing? You're covering points on your body. You're bringing the blood back up from your fight or flight. That's what all tapping does. It brings the blood back from the amygdala up into the brain so you have the space to actually make the choice of your reactions versus just reacting from our old programming.
One of the things, as I was in the last few days, as we were getting ready to do this, I, began just instinctively, tapping, but I wasn't using the locations that you talked about. And what I was doing was like tapping on the part that felt like it needed some love and attention. Is that, obviously there's no right or wrong, but what would you say to someone who thinks that tapping on the injury part or the part where the pain is helpful? as opposed to the technique you just did?
And this is my personal belief, feel that there is no wrong way, that our intention to heal supersedes everything. I use essential oils. I love them because if you breathe them and it does the work for you. But again, you have to be deliberate about putting them in. The same way with tapping. I have a friend who is an acupuncturist. She's been an acupuncturist for 40 years. She told me you can simply, once you've learned tapping and you're someplace, she simply tunes in without even moving, because our intentions are the strongest thing about us. That's our soul. Our soul intention to heal supersedes anything. So I would absolutely, if I have something, I tap on that. There are, when you go to the acupuncturist, they don't just do these 7 points. They will go into where the body needs that. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
I remember years ago, I had a similar type of pain, and I went to a chiropractor, and there was some electrical stimulation that was placed on it, and I'm remembering that because that was really a introduction to the whole idea of energy work. I'm going to make one kind of blanket statement. I believe that any of these techniques is going to be a better solution than the Western medicine go-to answer of some type of a ingestive substance that will suddenly heal us. So I believe that this, the Eastern philosophy of natural medicine or ancient medicine, however we want to phrase it, is the better long-term answer for things. Obviously, if you have a laceration or a broken bone, Western medicine is exceptionally good at those types of treatments. But if you have some kind of a chronic thing, I believe that any of these techniques that you use are going to be superior.
I absolutely agree. I do tell my clients this. If you are in a tremendous amount of pain and you feel you need that that drug or whatever that is prescribed, absolutely take it to give yourself that break so that you can then start to do internal work. So, and then you can move on from there once you're not in a state of total alarm. Right. Sometimes there is a place for everything. Like I say, if I knock on the hardest thing I know, if I'm in an accident and break my leg, I'm not going to do tapping to fix it. But so yes, everything has a place. And I think these are long-term lasting solutions that we can use to create the life of joy that we are all longing for.
We went and used up all of our time, so we'll just have to kind of, we're not under like a hard deadline we have to finish by, but we'll go ahead and just sort of wrap it up. And I want to just say thank you for, giving me the gift of allowing me to. I knew that I was on the journey of re-establishing my vision for where American Gumption and what I've been doing. It's not, again, it wasn't like I was like, oh, this isn't working. I need to go off in some other direction. It was more like, all right, there's certain pieces that I really like and are working well. And there are certain pieces that need to be, de-emphasized, and other things that I had originally envisioned need to be, brought up. So it was a matter of like adjusting dials and, bringing up the volume of certain things. But it really did have that feeling of like not being crystal clear about the big picture. So then when you helped me realize that I was not able to see, it was like, oh my gosh, this is not a coincidence in terms of how that works. So thank you so much for the gift that you've given me. And anybody who watched this will be able to see that and apply it to, whatever area that might be. So if maybe we wrap up by saying, when we have, our body is telling us something, and in my case, it was like there was a soreness in it. Well, what is it that is, what's the kind of the reality of it? And that's where what you do, and people can go to your website, deniseflood.com. Give a little bit of a commercial about the work you do, and then we'll kind of leave it at that, because people are going to, you help people. You've been doing this work for a long time. How do you like to work with people? What's the best way to contact you?
DeniseFlood.com is a great way. I also have a website called Tapping World Healing, all one word. And I love to work with people. I also offer 2 free 20 to 30 minute options where they can get to know me on Facebook. I have a Tapping World Healing page. I do Tapping Tuesdays at 2. We cover a wide range of topics. It's general normally, although sometimes I have a guest on. Perhaps that will be you one day, Steve. And also Wellness Wednesdays on my Denise Flood page. And from there, you can contact me. It's my passion to change this world, just like you, where we can bring awareness to how incredible we are when we have balanced mind, body, and spirit, and make this world just absolutely heaven on earth.
Yes, and so I added Tapping World Healing to the comment section, so people can go there also. Interestingly, as I came back from that journey, that trip that I talked about, it was right after that I met Gwen Peterson, who is the founder and the leader of Spiritual Communities Network. And that is the group that you and I have connected and met from. So there are no coincidences. We are all connected, and you are part of this new vision. And so tapping is no longer kind of this mystery to me, and I understand it a whole lot better today, and I think I'm going to benefit from it. So thank you so much for joining us, and we're going to have to bring you back, because I'm thinking there's more wisdom that you have to share.
I would love that. I absolutely had a terrific time here today, and I thank you for allowing me to share my passions.
All righty. Well, thank you, Denise. We will see you again, and I'll just wrap up this show, and we'll continue with this conversation next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, that is Denise Flood. We sure do thank her. I didn't know what to expect. I was expecting that I would, and you would end up understanding the process of tapping much better. I was not expecting to go through the exercise that we did, but I'm grateful that we did, because it'll be very interesting to see how, in the next, if in the next week, like this, like energy just releases, and I suddenly feel that I have my mobility back, and it really is not ironic. It's not a coincidence. It's really that now that I understand the connection of me not feeling like I could see the big picture, or had maybe lost sight of what the big picture was, that was where this mobility and me not being able to see clearly, and this resulting neck pain. So there you go. All righty. Well, tomorrow I'm going to do a live remote from the home of Heather Holmes, P2, the founder of P2 Probiotics. Heather's been a guest a few times here on the show, so she doesn't get the first-time guest theme any longer. But we'll broadcast, and we're going to talk about heart-centered businesses, because when I very first met Heather, that's how she talked about her business as a heart-centered business. And that was the reason why I wanted to meet her and to get to know who she was, because I am interested in people who are doing that. So we'll specifically get into that conversation tomorrow with Heather. And then the aforementioned Gwen Peterson will be my guest on Friday. So there you go. So have a great rest of your day. I will see you all tomorrow.